And you're watching News at 10. In our top stories tonight, Dato' Onn Hafiz sworn in as Johor Menteri Besar. VTL SOP between Malaysia and 3 countries takes effect tomorrow. Dato' Onn Hafiz Ghazi is set to continue his family's legacy as an important leader of Johor and the country following his appointment as the 19th Menteri Besar of Johor. The Machap Assemblyman has been officially sworn in as the State Menteri Besar in front of Johor ruler Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar at Istana Bukit Serene around 3 p.m. today, following Barisan Nasional's victory in the state election on Saturday. The vehicle carrying the Sultan of Johor was seen entering the palace gate at about 2:54 p.m. and left the premises 30 minutes later, while Dato' Onn Hafiz's vehicle was seen leaving the Istana Bukit Serene at 3:37 p.m. Also at the ceremony were the Tengku Mahkota of Johor, Tunku Ismail Sultan Ibrahim, and Johor BN Chairman Dato' Hasni Muhammad. In the state polls, Barisan Nasional recorded a landslide victory, winning 40 seats out of 56 state seats. Dato' Onn Hafiz defeated Azli Syam Azhar from Perikatan Nasional PN, R. Sanggaran from Muda, and Dato' Dr. Shaharuddin Mat Saleh from Pejuang with a 6,543 vote majority. Dato' Onn Hafiz is a great-grandson of UMNO founder and former President Dato' Onn Jaafar. He was Johor Tourism, Youth and Sports Committee Chairman until the State Legislative Assembly was dissolved on 22nd January. An accounting degree holder from University of Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom, he was also Defence Minister Datuk Seri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein's Political Secretary from 2013 until 2018. Meanwhile, the newly minted Johor Menteri Besar has pledged to fulfill all promises made by Barisan Nasional to all Johorians as best as possible. He said he accepted the mandate with determination to carry out the trust and responsibilities given to him. In a Facebook post, Dato' Onn Hafiz described Dato' Hasni Muhammad's sacrifices in giving way to a younger person to lead the state as proof of his predecessor's strong statesmanship. He added he will always seek advice from Dato' Hasni as he is the person with more experience. Dato' Onn Hafiz also appealed to all Johorians, regardless of race, religion and background, to be united in heart, mind and energy to jointly develop the state. He said hopefully the combined synergy of those experienced with the idealism of the young will help develop and strengthen Johor further. The standardized and updated version of Health Standard Operating Procedures for the Air Vaccinated Travel Lane (VTL) between Malaysia and Singapore, Thailand and Cambodia, based on the test and release method, will take effect tomorrow. Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong said through the method, travellers would not have to wait for the results of the COVID-19 test upon arrival at Kuala Lumpur International Airport and Pulau Pinang International Airport. According to Datuk Seri Dr. Wee, travellers would only need to undergo a COVID-19 test swab upon arrival and are allowed to continue their journey to their respective accommodation as declared in the MySejahtera Surveillance and Observation Order by boarding a private vehicle, taxi or private rental car. Travellers will then have to isolate themselves while waiting for the results of the COVID-19 test, which will be obtained within 24 hours. The minister said once they test negative, travellers will be allowed to carry on with their activities. However, if the test positive for the virus, they would have to comply with the existing health protocols set by the Health Ministry MOH. Datuk Seri Dr. Wee said the Transport Ministry is implementing the standardized health SOPs based on the current risk assessments and approval by the MOH. The standardizations is to avoid confusion among VTL by air travellers who enter Malaysia and to facilitate enforcement aspects at the airport. The establishment of the Perlis Inland Port PIP is very timely and will spur the growth of Malaysia-Thailand cross-border trade as both nations strive to achieve over 126 billion ringgit in bilateral trade by 2025. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said, being strategically located near the Malaysia-Thailand border, Perlis has the edge to benefit from various economic and business opportunities in cross-border businesses. Explaining further, he said the PIP would add value to strategic projects in the Northern Corridor Economic Regions and CER in Perlis, namely the Chuping Valley Industrial Areas CVIA, Chuping Agro Valley, NCER Agro-Bio Economic Zone and Perlis Superfruits Valley.
PIP mencerminkan momentum pertumbuhan dan kemajuan ekonomi Perlis yang dipacu oleh sektor pertanian moden dan pintar serta pembuatan bernilai tinggi. Ini akan menarik pelaburan baru dengan penyediaan kemudahan logistik yang lengkap dan kos pengangkutan yang berpatutan bagi pelabur-pelabur di CBI.
The Prime Minister said, following the launch of the PIP, the CVIA is expected to transform Perlis and the NCER economy through increased investments and jobs for locals, thus reducing the migration of locals. He also said, currently the total trade between Malaysia and Thailand is worth $23 billion or 96.78 billion ringgit, of which 44.18 billion ringgit was contributed through cross-border trade. According to him, Malaysia and Thailand have agreed to increase the value of trade between both countries to over 126 billion ringgit by 2025. The Memorandum of Understanding MOU on the recruitment and placement of Indonesian domestic workers PDI involving maids to be signed by Malaysia and Indonesia has been postponed to 1st April. Speaking to reporters in a media conference at Parliament Building today, Human Resources Minister Datuk Seri M. Saravanan said the signing ceremony, which was scheduled to be held in Jakarta, Indonesia this Friday, was postponed to allow leaders from both countries to attend and witness the ceremony.
Apabila kita ada Presiden Indonesia, kita perlu menjemput Perdana Menteri kita. Walau bagaimanapun Perdana Menteri kita ada satu lagi majlis yang telah ditetapkan, iaitu Perhimpunan UMNO. Maka kita tunda.
The MOU was first set to be signed on 8 February but was postponed to 18 March. A total of 1,466 existing 3G transmitting stations have been upgraded to 4G by main service providers such as Celcom, Digi, Maxis and U-Mobile as of 25th January this year. Deputy Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Zahidi Zainul Abidin said the efforts to upgrade existing 3G transmitting stations to 4G would continue to be implemented this year by using the existing spectrum. Datuk Zahidi Zainul said the initiative aims to improve capacity as well as the quality of mobile broadband for consumers.
Selain itu, rangkaian teras backhaul sedia ada turut dinaik taraf kepada gentian optik di setengah kawasan bagi menampung kapasiti radio yang lebih tinggi dalam perkhidmatan 4G. Dengan menaik taraf rangkaian teras dan stesen pemancar 4G ini, ianya akan dapat memastikan akses jalur lebar mudah alih yang lebih bermutu dengan kualiti pengalaman yang lebih baik kepada pengguna dapat disediakan setelah penambatan perkhidmatan 3G secara menyeluruh kelak.
Meanwhile, through the National Digital Network Jendela Plan, Datuk Zahidi Zainul said 2,175 new towers would be built to expand 4G coverage, especially in rural areas and the interior. The public is advised to take heed of warnings issued by the relevant authorities to be more prepared to face the monsoon transition phase from yesterday until mid-May. Environment and Water Minister Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man said, in contrast to the northeast monsoon, which is associated with rainfall for a long period of time, the monsoon transition phase would cause thunderstorms, heavy rain and strong winds in a short period of time, namely about 1 to 3 hours.
Kalau kita lihat monsun timur laut ni, episod hujannya biasanya berlaku dengan keadaan lebat dan berskala besar dan berlarutan untuk tempoh yang panjang, iaitu berhari-hari. Hujannya berpanjangan dan biasa kita boleh beri amaran lebih awal, 2 ke 3 hari sebelum berlaku banjir kita boleh sebab taburan hujan yang boleh kita cerap. Manakala peralihan monsun dicirikan ribut petir, hujan lebat dan angin kencang yang berlaku dalam tempoh yang singkat, biasanya 1 hingga 3 jam saja berlaku. Jadi oleh kerana hujan berlaku dalam keadaan tempat tertentu, maka resiko banjir kilat akan berlaku.
Datuk Seri Tuan Ibrahim added that the ministry is working closely with various agencies, including the National Disaster Management Agency and the National Disaster Command Centre, besides holding discussions with the police, civil defence force and armed forces in dealing with disasters in the country. Apart from that, he said the ministry is also in talks with the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission to enable disaster warnings to be channelled immediately to the public. The overall alignment for the Mass Rapid Transit 3 MRT3 line is expected to be fully operational by 2030. According to Transport Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Ka Siong, the project is scheduled to commence tender this year for 5 main packages over 6 to 8 years. Datuk Seri Dr. Wee explained that the route was planned to operate in phases, in which the first phase will be running as early as December 2028, subject to the process of land acquisition. He said the MRT3 project, approved by the Cabinet on 4th March, is a circle line covering the outer perimeter of Kuala Lumpur City, as well as part of the high-density areas in Ampang Jaya, Selangor.
Hasil daripada kajian kebolehlaksanaan teknikal yang telah dijalankan, cadangan jajaran terkini bagi projek MRT3 adalah sebuah lingkaran sepanjang 51 km di mana 39 km terletak di wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur dan 12 km terletak di Selangor. Laluan lingkaran ini akan merentasi rangkaian rel sedia ada termasuk MRT1, MRT2, LRT, monorail dan KTM komuter untuk membentuk 10 buah stesen pertukaran atau interchange station baru supaya sistem rangkaian pengangkutan awam di Lembah Kelang ini lebih menyeluruh, berkesinambungan dan efisien.
He said about 80% of the overall alignment is elevated while 20% is underground. Coming up, man and son nabbed by police as drugs worth 1.95 million ringgit seized. 9 public servants of an enforcement agency were among 10 individuals arrested for alleged drug trafficking involving shabu worth 193,590 ringgit. Bukit Aman Narcotic Criminal Investigation Department Director Dato' Ayub Khan Maidin Piche said the 9 public servants were arrested in Putrajaya while the other suspect, a fisherman, was arrested in Johor. Explaining further, Dato' Ayub Khan said they were arrested between 6 and 8 March, adding that the suspects, who are between 33 and 49 years old, were alleged to have sold 50 kilograms of shabu, which were seized in an operation in the Straits of Malacca.
So, modus operandi sindiket ini adalah menjual semula 50 kilogram dadah yang disyaki shabu yang dirampas dalam satu operasi di perairan Selat Melaka kepada pengedar dadah di kawasan utara Semenanjung Malaysia. Dadah yang dirampas tersebut cuba diseruduk oleh satu sindiket yang bergerak aktif di Banting, Selangor untuk pasaran di Dumai, Indonesia. Sindiket ini dicari mula aktif sejak pertengahan bulan Februari tahun ini.
He said a drug test conducted on the suspects found 4 of the public servants positive with methamphetamine. All of them are in remand for 14 days and the case is being investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Police arrested a Thai national and his Malaysian son following the seizure of 54.06 kilograms of methamphetamine, estimated to be worth 1.95 million ringgit, in 2 raids in Jenjarum, Selangor on 10th March. Selangor Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department Chief ACP Ahmad Jafri Abdullah said the 49-year-old father and 26-year-old son were arrested at a car park in Jenjarum. He said a brown box containing 10 packets of Chinese tea believed to contain drugs, weighing about 10.2 kilograms, was seized from them. The suspects then led the police to a 2-story terrace house in Bandar Sarjana Putra, where the police found 2 more brown boxes.
Bagi kedua-dua rampasan yang telah dibuat, kesemuanya berjumlah 53 bungkusan dengan anggaran berat 54,060 gram dadah jenis syabu. Nilai rampasan dadah tersebut adalah 1.95 juta.
ACP Ahmad Jafri said the drugs were believed to have been obtained from a neighbouring country for distribution in Selangor. The police also seized a car and cash of 60,400 ringgit. Both suspects are in remand for 7 days until 17 March for investigation under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. The Kota Baru High Court in Kelantan has found an unemployed man who was charged with murdering a retired policeman not guilty on the ground that he was of unsound mind. Judicial Commissioner Datuk Wan Ahmad Farid Wan Saleh instead ordered Muhammad Rozani Yahya, 43, to be placed at Hospital Bahagia in Ulu Kinta, Perak. He said based on the testimony of medical experts, the accused was not mentally sound during the incident which occurred in 2018. Therefore, the court issued an order under Section 348, subsection 2 of the Criminal Procedure Code for Muhammad Rozani to be placed under the safe custody of Hospital Bahagia. Muhammad Rozani was charged with murdering Abdul Halim Cik Yusof, 69, in Kampung Apa-Apa Bunut Susu in Pasir Mas at about noon on 25th January 2018. The charge was framed under Section 302 of the Penal Code, which provides the death sentence upon conviction. Deputy Public Prosecutor Khairul Anwar Wahab prosecuted, while Muhammad Rozani was represented by lawyer Zamri Matnawang. Egypt have agreed to reactivate their bilateral mechanisms by convening the Second Joint Commission meeting (JCM) before November this year. Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Abdullah said the JCM, to be hosted by Malaysia, will be held at the level of foreign ministers of both countries. The first meeting of JCM was held in Cairo in 2008.
The last time and the first time the Joint Commission meeting was conducted was in 2008, and we both has agreed that this year we have to convene the second JCM, and we are committed that we should convene this before November.
Datuk Seri Saifuddin further explained that the second JCM meeting should be held before November as Egypt will be busy hosting the 27th session of the Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in Sharm el-Sheikh in November this year. He said this after holding a bilateral meeting with his Egyptian counterpart, Sameh Hassan Shukri. The minister added that he and his Egyptian counterpart also touched on the Ukraine-Russia conflict in their meeting, where both agreed there should be continuous efforts to find a political solution to this issue through peaceful dialogues and negotiations. Of this evening's news at 10. In our top story, Dato' On Hafiz sworn in as Johor Menteri Besar. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Shuaida Arifin. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM. Salam keluarga Malaysia and have a pleasant evening.